The OED collaborate with an international network of consultants when working on various world varieties of English, and through this collaboration, their valuable research on linguistic variation in English enriches the OED's documentation of this variation. So one notable example is our consultant on Bermudan English, Dr. Rosemary Hall. With an estimated 65,000 speakers, Bermudian English is the smallest national variety to date to be represented in the OED. And with such a small number of speakers, there simply is not as much material to work with for Bermudian English as there would be for a dialect with millions rather than tens of thousands of speakers and a wider range of media outlets. So Dr. Hall's work, which she explains in this article that we show you here, really helped us in our own research. The OED's documentation of pronunciations for world varieties of English is a work in progress, and pronunciation models for more varieties, along with transcriptions and audio recordings for corresponding entries, are continually added to the dictionary by its pronunciations team. These pronunciation models, transcriptions, and audio recordings not only offer detailed descriptions and illustrations of the different accents of English around the world, they also lead to in-depth analyses of important questions in phonetics and phonology, such as the role of naturalization in the pronunciation of Indian English, as explained by OED Senior Consultant Phonetics Editor Matthew Moreland in the article we show here. The OED's academic users also show us some very interesting ways of using OED data for linguistic research. One noteworthy case study is the work of Lauren Simon, a researcher on historical semantics who used the OED to investigate semantic transfer. She studied a subset of new senses added to revised OED entries to trace patterns of meaning change within English. She found that the majority of new senses she looked at were produced via metaphorization, the likening of one thing to another, such as the use of genie to also refer to people with a remarkable, almost magical talent for something, while a smaller proportion of her sample was produced via metonymization, or the substituting of the name of an attribute or adjunct for that of the thing meant, such as the use of White House to mean the executive branch of the US government. The OED also has research applications that go beyond lexicography and linguistics. One interesting example of how the OED has been used in the field of law is explained in an article that has recently been published in the European Journal of International Law. Author Stuart Manley and his colleagues used the OED in interpreting the statute of the International Criminal Court, or ICC, and its statutes are commonly known as the Rome Statute. The research showed that the OED is widely used by ICC judges when needing to establish the ordinary meaning of certain words when making their legal decisions. So they decided to also use OED definitions to interpret certain words in a provision of the Rome Statute and prove through this interpretation that when applying general principles of law, the ICC is required in all instances to consider general principles derived from the laws of countries that would normally exercise jurisdiction over the crime. Laws and principles from African countries like Uganda, Kenya, and the Republic of the Congo have largely been excluded from conventionally accepted sources of international law, even though, to date, all defendants before the ICC have been African and all of their alleged crimes have been committed at least partially on African soil. This research, supported by OED definitions, call for the ICC to address this inequity by giving more consideration to African laws.